Hello, Ram fans, and welcome back to the Triple J Pick'em Challenge. We are back and ready to make this week's picks.
And I am filling in for Jayson Ortiz, who had a perfect week last week, but let's hear from him.
Look at that. I'm not in last place anymore. 3 for 3. Jess went 0 for 3. That's none of my business, though. You know. And for all of Jess's fans out there, yeah. Sorry about that, too. But, well, you know, all I have to say is, go Duke.
Man, I can't believe Jayson made that video. He's the biggest joker.
Yeah, I guess we weren't really expecting that, but one thing that I found funny about that is he led it within, I'm not in last place anymore, which he has been in for a very long time. Let's not forget about that.
Yeah, and I haven't been there for a long time. This is really sad for me. I couldn't have expected, I really thought that the only risky pick I was taking last week was CSU to win that game, but looks like I just made the worst picks ever, and I'd like to apologize for all of my loyal followers who voted for me thinking that I was going to win. Coming out 0-3, I got to do better this week, so let's get into it.
Okay.
All right.
Well, I think that's enough about last week, but besides, the past is in the past. Let's start with number 13 LSU versus number 5 Tennessee.
Okay, this is obviously a big top 25 game. Former number 1 Tennessee losing to Kentucky last week, kind of big. I'm going to go out on a limb and say they lose again to LSU for 2 reasons. LSU performs better. They perform better against better teams. They perform better in the conference, and I think they'll edge them out offensively. Tennessee is 1-2 against top 25 teams and losing by an average of 12 points. LSU is 3-2, but they average 77 points per game, compared to Tennessee giving up 82 points per game against teams in the top 25. 3-2, they have more experience against top 25 teams. They beat Kentucky, who beat Tennessee.
By 2, only by 2.
Yeah.
By a win is a win, if you ask me.
I was going to say, it wasn't a blowout.
You're right.
Very close.
But Tennessee did get blown out. They did.
Okay, let's start going into my part right now.
Okay.
LSU, right now though, they technically do have worse defense. They have been letting up 73 points per game, and elaborate on that, LSU hasn't held a team below 70 points since January, and that has been 5 games. And let's also not forget that LSU started this whole mess about beating teams that are on hot win streaks. Kentucky got mad over it, and now they end up beating Tennessee, of course, but now Tennessee is mad that their streak just got beat, especially it's about to be at 20 games. So them seeing LSU, I don't see how they're going to go in there and lose this game. Also, though, that was their first loss since November, and that's 3 months, of course. And also, let's talk about that ranked game. With LSU, you said they play worse against ranked teams. Of course, I can give you a little bit of that, but not all of it, because let's not forget they also beat Gonzaga, who's ranked number 2 right now.
Big win.
That is true.
Yes.
But Kentucky's ranked number 5 both times. Well, was ranked number 5 when LSU beat them.
I don't know.
Once you start getting into the top 10
of 5
of NCAA men's basketball, it's been a revolving door all season. All these teams, they can beat each other on any day, any time in the top 25.
Well, regardless if LSU is going to be able to beat Kentucky today, that would still be a major upset with Tennessee being 5 and LSU being 13. They're both tied for first in the SEC. And before Tennessee goes to play LSU, they're going to be playing Vanderbilt, who is 0-12 in the SEC, a very bad team. So I think that'll be a huge confidence boost for them going into play this LSU team. Yeah. I think that LSU is definitely going to have to look out for Admiral Schofield. He's in the running for being a National Player of the Year, and he's surrounded by Jordan Bone and Grant Williams, who are just dominating this season. And a lot of teams are just really struggling to stop them on offense. So I'm interested to see how LSU is going to do that.
Well, I think LSU has been excelling the most when they're playing other SEC teams. They're first in the conference in scoring. They're scoring 85.3 points a game, first in total rebounds per game, and first in offensive rebounds, where Tennessee's 13th. So I think LSU just has the competitive edge for me, a bit of a competitive edge, a little bit of an offensive edge for me. It's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be a great game, but I've got to put LSU over Tennessee.
Yeah, I think Tennessee is going to be a little bit more competitive now that they've lost their most recent game. That was a really big matchup, and I think that they're going to be more determined going on from
Real
here
quick,
on
right
out.
before we say that, Tennessee actually is leading them in points per game right now after all the stats just came out. They're leading in 2 more. But we're going to move on from that. That was a little low ball, sorry. But moving on, we have number 10 Michigan State heading to Ann Arbor to take on the in-state rival number 7 Michigan.
All right, I'm picking Michigan State here over Michigan. Michigan is on a 3-game win streak over Michigan State, so I think that this streak has to end, and it has to end now. Tom Izzo is one of the best coaches in this entire country, and he is surrounded by some amazing weapons. It's very unfortunate to hear that Nick Ward is out. He really dominates in the paint, averaging 15 points per game, shooting 60%. He just recently got injured in their win over Ohio State, so that's definitely something that is a little bit worrisome for me. But Cassius Winston, only a sophomore, he could be one of the Big Ten Player of the Year. It's definitely looking like he could do that this year. He's averaging 19 points per game, 7 assists. So he's got a really high basketball IQ, loves to pass the ball around and involve his teammates, and that's something that Izzo really loves to see. And he's also surrounded by Matt McQuaid, who is averaging 42% behind the 3, as well as Winston. So they're really just powerful all around the court, and I like to see them shoot behind the 3 a lot in this game.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I mean, Michigan State is second in the nation in total assists throughout the season, which I think is great. It shows how good of a coach that Tom Izzo is. Sharing the ball is very important, especially when you're going against a big in-state rival. You can't kind of get into this mindset that one guy has to win the game.
Yeah.
They've got to share it, especially with Nick Ward out.
Yeah.
The workload is going to be distributed a lot more amongst the team.
Yeah.
And I think with the way they've been assisting each other throughout the season, I think that will be even more evident in this game.
Yeah, especially with the big rivalry. I think that there's going to be a lot of sound in that gym, so it's going to be crucial that the team that wins this game is going to be able to work together.
All right, now I chose Michigan in this one. This game, I know, we all know it's going to be a very close game. It's going to be fun to watch either way.
Yeah.
But Michigan State, they have lost 2 out of their last 4 games, and the biggest part about that is that those are against unranked teams. And like 1 loss to an unranked team, okay, that's a fluke. But 2, I don't know. That could have been a spiral if they didn't win the next game after that. But then also, Michigan, they also have a phenomenal defense. They had a fluke, of course, like I'm going to use that word again. They had a fluke to Penn State with 75 points. We all know that. But then before and after then, it's been over a month since someone has scored more than 65 points against them. Over an entire month. And I think that since Michigan State's offense is revolved around Winston, a lot of the plays are running through him. Since their defense is so good, they're going to be able to bring it back in. So I think Michigan's going to win this one.
I don't know. I think I really need this one, so that's why I picked Michigan State. I think this is going to be a good setup.
All right, well, finally, we have number 8, North Carolina, heading down to Tobacco Road to take on number 1, Duke. What are you thinking about this one, Jared?
Well, I chose Duke, of course. Like, I'm not going to go against Duke. But, of course, as much as we all want to see Duke fall, just to see Jayson fall and, like, guys take off that beanie. But Duke has shown that they're their most complete team. They are number 1 for a reason. They have a consistency. They've shown that they're a top team in the college football, right? That's college basketball. Then their top players are going to go 1, 2, 3 in the draft. I don't see them possibly losing this game, even a little.
Yeah, last time I picked Duke, I talked about their 2 most popular players, and Jayson was like, don't forget about Cam Reddish, and I think that he's going to be huge in this game as well, shooting from almost 79%. And although UNC does lead this rivalry, I think this Duke team is different than a lot of Duke teams we've seen in the past. They are just so dominant. I just had to pick Duke at this one. There was no other going for me.
Oh, yeah, Duke, it's pretty easy. They have probably the best big 3 NCAA men's basketball has ever seen, arguably.
Truly generational.
Very arguably. I mean, all they have to worry about is Cameron Johnson on UNC. He's averaging 16.3 points per game.
Yeah.
Even if you limit his output just a little bit, the big 3 on Duke are just going to mute that so easily.
Yeah, having to just stop one of them is hard enough.
You cannot bet against that at this point. I think we've all learned that.
Yeah, see, I like agreeing with you guys. Now, if we're wrong, which I really doubt we'll be wrong here, we'll all be wrong, and I won't be going 0 for 3.
If anything, I'll be right. So.
Well, Ram fans, that's all we have for the Triple J Pick'em Challenge this week. But head to our Twitter page now to vote on which game you are most excited for. And don't go anywhere, Rams, because next, Maddie and Corey have updates from golf and an interview on the old pistol team at CSU. Don't go anywhere.